My name is Jaden Courier, and today I will be talking about the paper that is called Reconstruction of Automobile um, Destruction, an example of the interaction between language and memory. The authors are um, sorry, uh, Elizabeth E. Loftus. Yes, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but Elizabeth E. Lattis and John C. Palmer. And the paper was published in 1974. All right, the point of this paper was to show the wording of a question can influence how someone remembers an event. And okay, in the experiment, participants watched a car accident and then completed a questionnaire. The question was altered around things such as how fast was the car going when the cars smashed into each other, or like how fast were the cars going when they hit each other. And the findings from this were that the questions that used stronger verbs, like more intense verbs like smash, people reported a higher speed, and the questions that use things like hit or collided, participants um, reported a slower speed. And in another part of the experiment, um, they were showing clips, like similar short clips of cars crashing. These were like made up scenarios. These were not real events that occurred. So like, they were just showing like little clips of cars crashing or colliding together. And they were asked if they saw broken glass, and then the findings shown that like questions that were used a stronger and more intense verb like smash, they were reported seeing glass on the ground versus like the ones that use less intense verbs were more likely to not see glass on the ground in the video. This study has shown how more intense verbs led to like an exaggerated response to what they saw in the car crashes. And then I'll talk about like the strengths and the weaknesses of the method used in the experiments and like some changes that I think could be made. And then the strengths of these experiments are that it really helped prove how memories can be altered because like it showed multiple responses that used questions um, they used questions that had altered verbs. So it showed that like stronger verbs cause people to like usually have a more dramatic um, memory of what occurred. And also like it showed that memories are not passive and that we have reconstructible memories. Um, the video, the videos that were shown um, were short clips. So like it was an experiment that was easy to follow for participants. Like it was easy for them to participate, and it's like it wasn't complicated for them themselves. So that's like a positive of the experiment. It was also easy for like readers to follow because they showed the data and explained it very clearly. Um, they also had a good control group, like versus non-control group. Like it really showed the difference they use a control group in their experiment. So that's another positive. And then some of the negatives were that they only use like a small selection of verbs. So like it makes me wonder like if they use a wider variety of verbs in the questions, like what the responses from participants would have been. And then like more weaknesses that is that the population chosen were only students. So like it wasn't a very random study. It was just based off of one certain population. And it'd probably look different if they used older people and younger people, non-students. Um, Another one is that the students might have had different memories if they experienced a car crash in real life versus like on a computer. And I say this because like trauma also affects the memory, so I feel um like the gravity of the situation would be much stronger, so it would probably impact them differently, have them have different responses because like stressful situations also affect memory. So like, and I have a few questions like about this experiment, and like one of them is like I wonder like a random population like how the study would look, especially if like older people because I feel like um you're more like whenever you're older you're more or less likely to be like impacted by word choices because like you're wiser. So I feel like you wouldn't let that like influence your own opinion more. Or also like especially or like younger people because younger people are also known to be extremely brutally honest about things. So I feel like it'd be easy to get exactly what they saw out of them. But also younger kids can lie sometimes, so like that might also influence their responses because they don't know what to say, so they just make up something. um, Another question I have is like how I wonder how the experiment would look with real life car crashes, or like how people respond to real life ones because it would most likely be different because they actually experience it themselves. All right, and then overall, this video showed the effects of language, and it like showed how language affect our memories and how if things are worded a certain way, we remember them a certain way. For example, like the stronger and more intense a verb is, we're more likely to have like a more dramatized remembrance of the event um, because like it's the stronger verb makes us think the effects of the event were much more intense than they actually were. Um, and basically, this study like really helped impact cognitive science because it showed how our memory works, how recalling memories can look different for everyone because we may have been asked a different question than someone else about the memory that we had. And then in this study, I remember like the data looking interesting to me because it was crazy how like how many people remembered seeing glass even though there was no glass in the experiment just because like things are worded a certain way. It also like brings the question of like criminal trials because a lot of times prosecutors are trying to get certain informations out of people. So like it makes me wonder like the ethical from like an ethical standpoint if like messing with someone's memory is ethical because we want to get something out of them, like using certain words on purpose. It also like brings the question like in some of these trials, if people really didn't remember things, they only thought they remembered things because the wordings were used in a particular way that framed the situation in a way that the prosecutors wanted it to be framed. So like I feel like this experiment is a good like defense mechanism for like prosecution or like interviewing in criminal trials. So I feel like also like this experiment impacted not only cognitive science but also forensic science for that reason. And overall, this was a very interesting paper for me because I didn't realize how like important wording was when asking people questions about like their day or like something that happened to them because like I guess if you use certain words and they might describe things differently than they actually happened because your words influenced them. Um yeah, and also like I read another experiment that was similar to this and I found that like altering um and I found like similar results. I found it like altering words also cause people to have a different reaction to than like the verbs that weren't altered. That was asked like a normal question. So I feel like this is like a really good way to show that. But I'm sure that there also would have been different results at the same time if this was a real life event. Cause I feel like it's easier for me to personally to remember things that happen in real life than like videos or movies that I see because it actually happened to me. And like also with video, like there's quality, like even if things are high definition or good quality, it really can't pinpoint every detail of what actually happened. So I'm sure it could look different if you were there in person. And also, like people might think they saw glass in the video because it was a video and they don't remember what exactly happened because they weren't there. But overall, I think that this was a very successful experiment and it really did a good job of conveying memory and how language impacts us. Thank you for watching.